It's my superpower.
Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away.
Good morning and welcome back to the channel. I hope that you guys are doing well and are looking forward to this episode. I have been dangling this carrot for quite some time. Back in September, I went to the Brimfield Flea Market up in Brimfield, Massachusetts, and I went there to find all sorts of stuff specifically for this makeover project, but I really wanted a fireplace mantle. And so we went around and we were looking all over the place for the perfect fireplace mantle. And even though the one that I purchased is not the one that in my mind going into the flea market I thought that I would buy, when I saw her, I fell in love. I just saw what she could potentially be. I could see that I could turn her back into something really beautiful. For some reason, somebody decided to paint her all sorts of different colors, including this horrible teal aqua color. But I just figured that if I could bring her home, strip all of the paint, put in a ton of work, a whole bunch of love, maybe, just maybe, I can turn her back to how I see her in my mind. So today we are going to start the first process of getting all of this paint off of her, and then of course there's going to be a ton of work to get her to the point where I can hopefully stain her. I really do not want to repaint this. I'm hoping that the wood is good enough for me to stain it. If it's not, then when it comes down to it, then we'll decide, whether to keep going with the project, whether to paint her, whether to stain it anyway, or maybe have to ditch her and find something else. But I'm really, really hoping that I can paint her. So how about we go ahead and get started? And if you are new here, welcome to the channel. I am so sorry I kind of just jumped right into today's project without welcoming everybody. I'm not sure how you found me, but I'm so grateful that you're here. If you enjoy this content by the end of this video, please hit the subscribe button. It would mean everything to me. And for everyone who's been following me over the last 6 months, welcome back and let's get started. So I'm going to use the citrus strip today to remove the paint off of the mantle. I've used it before. It's really great. It works very well. And what I love most about it is that there's no harsh fumes. So I really do love that. So I'm just going to go ahead and take off the top, pour some into my little container here, and then start spreading this around the mantle. I'm just going to take a little bit and I'm really just going to give a good coating all over the mantle. I really want to lay this on kind of thick because there's a lot of layers of paint in here, and I really want this to saturate and just get all into every bit of these cracks and nooks and crannies. Man, I hope I have enough. We might have to go and get another jar of this. But you see how thick I'm putting it on? I really want it to feel saturated. The goal is to only do this one time and not have to do a second layer of this, but we'll see. This is all trial and error. Gosh, I just hope that it turns out beautiful. So, fun story. When I brought this home, if you've seen the Brimfield Flea Market episode, then you've already seen this. But if you're new here, when I brought this fireplace home, I actually took Mark's truck. He did not want to go to the flea market, so me and my friend Rosalind took the 11-hour drive up to Massachusetts. And when I came back and showed him this fireplace, he told me that I have lost my mind. So it is my mission to change his mind by the time that this fireplace is finished and up on the wall. That is my main goal, is to change his mind. So let's see if we can do it.
Either I'm gonna say you were right, you're a genius and I couldn't see the vision, or I'm gonna just look at you and laugh a little and say I told you so.
You're not gonna. I trust and believe he is not gonna be able to say I told you so. No, it's not gonna happen. It's gonna be beautiful. Trust me, when I see something in my head, I make it happen. It's my superpower. If I can see it in my head, it is going to happen. Trust and believe that. All right, so I think we're done. I think we got a nice, good coating on it. So what we have to do is wrap this up into plastic. Thank you, babe. Is wrap this into plastic and just let it sit and just let that gel saturate down into the wood. And then tomorrow we are going to be coming back to do our first scraping. So that's what we're gonna do now, is just to get all the plastic over top, and then I will see you guys a little later. Oh, well, look, the wind is just helping us. Thank you, God. Look at that. When I just moved that piece of plastic, I could tell that some of this paint is already starting to come off. So that is a good sign, my friends. All right, now we wait. So it's been almost 24 hours since we put on a coat of that gel onto our fireplace, and so I'm kind of getting a little anxious and I just want to see how it looks. And so we're about to take off the plastic, see what it looks like. Hopefully it is ready for us to go ahead and start scraping off all of that paint. I'm really hoping for one try, but I know that's asking a bit much. So I'm assuming that we will look at it, scrape off as much as we can, and probably have to apply another coat of that gel, allow it to sit another 24 hours, and then maybe after that, once we scrape it, we can sand it and really get to work on this. So I guess we can just go ahead and rip off the plastic and see what we're working with. I'm gonna take a few sips of this and then we're gonna get started. All right. Let's see what this looks like. Oh boy. Oh boy. Already this is looking phenomenal, but let me get my other camera so I can get a close-up of this, but it's looking really good. Oh my God, I think that it is working. Can you see how everything is just bubbling up? Like, look at this. Oh boy, do we have a lot of work on our hands. Let's just keep So this is looking really, really promising. It's like bubbling up everywhere. There's lots of layers clearly, but I think that we're gonna get a really good first coat off. So I'm gonna go ahead, grab the scrapers, and we're gonna get to work. But this is exciting, good news. All right, let's give it a first scrape. Not sure what this black stuff is. So I'm not sure what this black stuff is. It's probably yet another coat of paint. It is bubbling up, and as you can see, it's scraping off, but yeah, so we've had that red, we had the blue, we've had the teal, we've had the black and brown. Oh my gosh, there's so many layers of paint. I think Mark might have been right on this one in terms of the amount of times that we're gonna have to reapply the gel to get all of the stuff off, but that's okay. I'm in it. What I really want to know is just if this is real wood, and I think that it is. It looks like it, right? Oops. Like in there, it definitely looks like it's real wood. Sorry for my runny nose. It's a little cold out. Let's try it on here. Oh, this is looking good. Yeah, you can just see all the different layers of paint we have in here. But what is really making me happy right now is seeing this wood here. There's that right there. That is real wood, and that's just what I really wanted to make sure that was under here. And that's really good news. All right, so there are lots and lots of layers on here. So far I've seen red, I've seen blue, I've seen brown, black, teal, and white. There's a lot of paint on here, and Mark is right. We are probably gonna have to do this process at least 3 times to get a good majority of this paint off, because it's a lot thicker than I thought it was gonna be, unfortunately. But that's okay, because it's coming off nicely, and all we have is time. There is no rush. I want to make this right. I know that there's going to be a lot of work, but I am up for the challenge. So the great news is it looks like everything here is wood. The condition of the wood is unknown until I get all of this paint off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get to work, and you guys can hang out and watch me. Let's get started. So many layers here. The great thing about it is that it's coming off easy. It's just like the first layer is coming off easy, so I know that I'm gonna have to then reapply it to get the second layer off, and probably reapply again to get the third layer off. But like I said, I'm up for the challenge, so let's just get to work. Okay, so it might not look like I've done a lot, but I've spent about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, scraping off the first coat of paint off of this. And yeah, it still is looking pretty rough. And so we are going to put another layer of stripper on it. So initially I used that orange gel, which did its job. It did a great job, but Mark also purchased this stuff here, this premium stripper. It does have a scent to it, but I'm hoping that using this on this next coat is really going to help soak in to the wood and really get these next few layers off. So we're going to try this next and we'll see how it goes. Back, and the great thing about this new solution that we put on, they say in about 15 minutes you should be able to start scraping off. We've let it sit for about a half an hour, so let's see what it looks like. Just looking. Ooh. It's looking sticky and shiny and messy, and I think that I'm going to need some gloves and probably a mask. So let me grab those and I'll be right back. I feel like this is coming off a lot better with this new stuff. I mean, look at that. Ugh. Yeah. Much better. We still have a ways to go, so we're just gonna allow this to sit a little longer, but I'm really loving how this is coming off much easier than the other stuff. It's smelly though, that is for sure. This is where we are at the end of the night, day one. It's a lot of work. I remember how cocky I was yesterday, and I am definitely eating my words right now. But it's a lot better than it was just a few hours ago. We are going to wrap it up for tonight. I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap this up with plastic because we have run out of the stripping agent that we've been using. So I'm just gonna wrap it up just to protect it from the weather and leaves that are falling and everything. And then tomorrow I'll go to Home Depot and get some more stripping agent and get back to it. But I think so far, I mean, it's looking good. It's looking better than it did. If I have to give a little, you know, positive note on it. But we'll get there. It's just going to take a lot longer than I thought.
Thank you for shopping at the Home Depot.
Here is my compromise. We have continued with wood stripper, but Jessica said, just don't sand it because I want to capture all that on video. So here's what a compromise looks like. This tape marks the halfway point, and over on this side, I am far from finished, but I've been doing some sanding, trying different products, different tools, and we'll talk about that at another time. But over here on, we'll call this Jessica's side, It's not bad, but got some more work to do. So here we are.
Hello, I am back. I have been gone for about a week and a half, and as you saw while I was gone, Mark very graciously worked on the fireplace mantle for me and recorded. Can you believe it? I have to give him some props for doing that because I just decided kind of last minute that I was gonna go home and spend some time with my family during the Thanksgiving holiday, and while he stayed back and spent some time with his family, he also did a lot of work, and I'm just very appreciated. So thank you, Mark. So now that I am back and looking at everything, it looks really, really good. A lot of the paint and the stain and all of those layers that you saw before I left are kind of gone. He really did a good job with kind of stripping off most of the paint. You will see in just a second that there is still a lot of paint to go. And so what I think I'm going to do is add some more of that stripping agent to some of these pieces just to see if I can get it a little bit more saturated so that I can scrape it off before we just go to 100% sanding. So let me show you all of the work that he's done so far. All right, so what you can see here is what the mantle currently looks like. And as you can see, a lot of that stain and all of those layers of paint are for the most part gone. There's lots of these little areas within here. I'm telling you, whatever is on this, it is very thick. I don't know what it is, but we're having a really hard time getting a lot of that stain off or paint off, or maybe a combination of both. But as you can see on this end, Mark has done a really good job of getting the majority of it off. But then we now have this side to do, and then all of the areas in between. In addition to, you'll see here, like a lot of the paint is gone, but I do still feel like there's some areas here that needs to be stripped using that stripping agent. And then all in here, I think we're gonna use maybe like a Dremel sander that can get into some of those tight areas. While I was hoping that this mantle was going to be finished by now because I really wanted it on the wall, decorated for Christmas and looking very beautiful, you know what? This is real life. The holidays are here. There's families to see. There's events to go to. And I wish that I could work on this mantle 100% of the time, but that is just not real life. And I told you guys this is going to be kind of a slow process, and that's exactly what it's turning out to be. Why we decided to start this makeover right before the holidays, I have no idea, but I'm not going to rush it, and I really do want to enjoy my holidays, and I don't want to feel like I have to finish this mantle just because I have a video to put out each Sunday. So if you guys are cool with just like rolling with me and, you know, follow me along on this very long process, I promise you it's going to be worth it in the end. I do. I promise you that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over, get the stripping agent, add another layer, probably going to let that sit overnight. And then once that sits, hopefully some more of this paint on those little knobs will be able to be removed. And then from there, we will switch to 100% sanding for the rest of this project. So let's get started. All right, so everything is all saturated and wet, and I'm just going to let it sit. Typically, you only have to let it sit for like 30 minutes, but I really wanted to saturate down into the wood as much as possible. So I'm going to cover it with plastic, and then in the morning, I'm going to cross my fingers that especially on these end pieces, that some of this paint will start to come off. Other than that, we're just gonna go ahead and start sanding this thing down. I do have this little Dremel, which I think is gonna be really helpful for getting into some of those tight spaces. And other than that, it's just gonna be a lot of muscle work with our arms and hands. So let's see what happens in the morning, and then we'll go from there. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning. So I stuck to my word and I allowed the stripping agent to just sit overnight. And so now let's go ahead, take a look at what it looks like, and then we'll see how much work I have to do today before we just put everything away and start sanding. So let's take a look. The great thing about covering up with plastic is it allows it to saturate without it drying up, and so you can probably see that it's still pretty wet down there, which is exactly what I want. I have done all of the scraping that I am willing to do, and at this point it has come down to sanding, and you guys missed it. Mark just came in here to take a look at it, and he says, wow, it's really going to be beautiful. Now, if you remember when I first bought this fireplace mantle at the Brimfield Flea Market and I brought it home, what did he say? He said,
So, my official review, I believe you've lost your mind.
So to hear him say that this is going to be beautiful is huge. And I asked him if I could get it on camera, and he said not yet. So let's go ahead and get to sanding. This is gonna take a very, very long time. So here we go. work. I have been working on this thing for several hours today, and I still have a ways to go. I think I'm gonna need probably at least another 3 days before I can feel confident enough that everything is sanded down and ready for staining. Again, I was really hoping to have a final piece to show you guys today, but this is life. This is real life. I was gone for 10 days. Mark did a wonderful job, as you could see. I have done a ton of work since I've been back, and still we have a lot of sanding to go. So I am hoping next week, the next time that you see my face and this mantle, that it will be completely done, hung on the wall, and decorated for Christmas. I cannot promise you, but that is the goal. So with that, I am going to let you go. I hope that you guys enjoyed this process of watching me renovate and refurbish this mantle. I think it is really going to be amazing, and I just cannot wait to show it to you guys next week. Fingers crossed. So don't forget to thumbs up, and if you have any suggestions for how I can finish this sanding, getting in those little corners and nooks of this mantle, I would be so appreciative. So leave those suggestions and comments down below in the comment section, and hopefully next week everything will be finished. We shall see. So anyway, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.